What is going on, college basketball fans? Welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at some of your guys' hot takes for this season in college basketball. If you guys want to be in the next hot takes video, all you gotta do is make sure you guys are subscribed and be on the lookout for when I make a community post asking for them, and then comment on that community post your hot take, and you guys can be in the next one. Without further ado, let's get into our first hot take. Alright, our first one's coming in here from Sports Die Hard, and he says Zach Edey will continue to dominate his way to National Player of the Year. And I think it's hard to disagree with this one. Putting up outstanding numbers, dominating everyone in it, and is a mismatch problem. I don't see too many teams being able to stop or even slow him down. Even if you want to foul him, he's an excellent free throw shooter. So I'm going to have to agree with this one. I think he is the clear front runner to win the Player of the Year this season. Next two are coming in here from B-Dubs because he's got a couple of good ones. He says in his first one, Wisconsin gets hot during the Big Ten tournament and win the Big Ten and go on a deep run in March Madness. Now I could actually see this one happening. Even if Wisconsin isn't a top seed, if they're a 4 or 5 seed, I could see them making a little bit of a run to an Elite 8 or something like that. I think Tyler Wall is an underrated player for this Wisconsin team, and Greg Gard as a coach is very underrated. Their last 3 wins were against Marquette on the road in a rivalry game, a good Marquette team, that being said as well, a home win against a good Maryland team, and then another conference road win against Iowa, who is also a good tournament team. Those are 3 solid wins all coming in a row. I think Wisconsin is a sleeper. I think I could see this one happening for sure. His next hot take is Kansas wins the Big 12 and goes to the Natty again. I'm going to have to disagree with that one. I could see Kansas winning the Big 12 conference, but I don't see them going to the national championship again. I don't even see them really making a Final Four. I think it would be kind of crazy if they made the Final Four again. I think that they're going to lose somewhere around the Sweet 16, but some really good takes coming in here from B-Dubs. Our next one's coming in here from my man Alex, and he says, despite their early season struggles, my least favorite team in North Carolina will still be good enough to make the Final Four and win the national championship. Now, I'm going to have to agree with him because he says he thinks they're still going to be good enough to win the national championship. So I agree that I think they're good enough to, but will they is a different story. At this point, I'm going to say North Carolina is not going to win the national championship. I do think they are good enough to because they have a solid roster on that team. And last year, even as an 8 seed, which is looking like they're heading towards another 8 seed at this point in the season as well. I think they'll get a little bit higher, around a 4 or 5 seed, but I could definitely see them making a run to the Elite 8 or even the Final Four. I don't see them winning the championship though. Our next one's coming in here from my man Jalen, and he says he doesn't know if you'd consider this a hot take, but Hunter Dickinson is the best center in the Big Ten. And I personally would probably consider that a hot take because really the 3 centers in contention here are Hunter Dickinson, Trayce Jackson-Davis, and Zach Edey. And I would definitely have Zach Edey as the best center in the Big Ten. But Hunter Dickinson, I do feel like is underrated, and I definitely think there is a conversation to be had there. But my personal opinion, I'd have Zach Edey as my number 1. Hunter Dickinson, very underrated though. An amazing post scorer, great rebounder, and a good defender. Definitely an amazing player. We got one coming in here from Peyton, and he says Gonzaga will get upset in the first round. I'm going to have to disagree with this one. I don't think that they are going to make a deep run in the tournament because I do think that this Gonzaga team is a team that is very, very beatable. I mean, we saw that already when they already have 3 losses on the season. But I think they're only going to lose to teams that are pretty good. I don't think they're going to get upset by a lower seeded team. I think it's going to take somebody pretty good to beat them, but I do think they lose around the Sweet 16 this season. Next hot takes coming in here from Kenneth, and he says, with Trevon Brazile out for the rest of the season, Arkansas isn't as good as they were with him defensively. Completely agree with him. They're definitely not as good as they were defensively and really as a team without him. But good news is Nick Smith Jr. is getting going. He has shown a lot of good flashes. I still think Arkansas is going to be good enough to make a little bit of a run. Are they a national championship contender? I mean, I still think that Brazil is a really big loss, and I'm not sure if they're quite on that top tier with some of these other teams as far as national championship contenders, but I definitely agree this is a major loss for the Razorbacks. Our next one's coming in here from Matt Way, and he says, Duke loses in the first round. And I could actually see potential for this happening. I mean, they're freshmen. They have a lot of really good freshmen on that team, but their two big names coming in were Derek Lively and Derek Whitehead. They are yet to get going yet. I know Derek Whitehead had one decent game so far, but they're really carried by veteran guard Jeremy Roach and also Kyle Flipowski. I'm going to have to disagree, though, with this one because I do think those freshmen are going to heat up at least a little bit, but because of Jeremy Roach, I think they don't lose in the first round. He's a really good veteran presence. He can close out a game for them. I do find them vulnerable in the second round and also the Sweet 16, though, so look out for maybe a second round upset by Duke, but I really like this hot take by Matt. My next one's coming in here from my man Gary, aka Gavin, and he says, Virginia will be the next Duke, as Duke will slowly fall from what they were. And this is an interesting hot take. My man is a Virginia fan, of course. I'm going to have to disagree, but I do think Virginia is a program that is going to be very good for a very long time. I'm mainly disagreeing with the part of Duke falling off. I think Jon Scheyer is going to get things together. I still think they're going to be a very, very solid program. It's going to take some time for Jon Scheyer to really make his presence felt with this Duke team, but I do think this program is going to still be really, really great. As far as Virginia, they have one of, if not the best coach in the nation, in my opinion. I think Tony Bennett is an amazing coach, and he's going to do great things with this program for a very, very long time. So I think Virginia is here to stay, and I also think Duke is here to stay as well. Last hot take is coming in here from Darius, and he says, the winning coach of the national championship team will win his first career national title. And this is very interesting. I think I'm going to have to agree because there are some really good teams this season that have coaches who have not won a national championship before, because immediately I think of UConn, Purdue, and also Houston. All three of those teams have excellent head coaches that have not won a championship as well. Dan Hurley at UConn, who has an amazing squad there with really good depth and insane potential right now. I think they are my favorites at this point to win the national championship. Then you have Houston, who are a lot of people's favorites to still win the national championship. I know they just had a tough loss against Alabama, but they are a solid team and a really good defensive head coach in Kelvin Sampson. And then you have Purdue with a good coach in Matt Painter, who has a beast, an unstoppable force in Zach Edey on his squad, surrounded by some great shooters there. I definitely think those three teams and some other good teams as well have some coaches that have not won a championship yet. But that's going to do it for this week's hot takes. Let me know what you guys think about some of these hot takes. Which ones do you agree with? Which ones do you disagree with? And make sure you guys subscribe and be on the lookout for my community posts so you guys can have your hot take in the next video. So that's going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching.